Well, hello, everyone. Duchess here. Welcome to Duchess After Dark. It's just a little podcast of me and my thoughts and just things I've observed, through the week and this, that, and the other. So it's just my opinions, and I hope to hear some of your opinions. So if you have something to share, please hit me up. You can find me on X at Duchess NJ. You can also comment on Spotify, which is where I get most of my comments. And you can certainly track me down either way. So welcome. So terrible news. What a terrible news day with Dolly Parton. I'm just going to kind of fall right into it. It was shocking to hear. She was 80. So, is it shocking when someone who's 80 passes away? But I think we all thought, and I'm going to say we as in everybody in the world, thought that she'd just be around forever. Who would think that Dolly Parton would pass away? Like she's whether you like country music or not, she was a gem. She was an absolute angel. She did amazing things for her state, for people living in the United States, for people living outside of the United States. She was a wonderful humanitarian, donated a ridiculous amount of money to all types of causes. And what's cool about her was she did it quietly. A lot of people are all about the attaboys and the public acknowledgement of the donation. What is it? Virtue signaling. Like that's a big deal for some people. Like, look at me, look at what I did. She just did. And one of my most favorite things that she does is she has a foundation, and she funds this Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And if anything catches you about Dolly Parton, for me, it's that. And what that does is it's dedicated right from her website. It's imaginationlibrary.com. And I highly recommend, if anybody is looking for a great organization, is this. So Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is dedicated to inspiring a love of reading by gifting books free of charge to children from birth to age 5 through funding shared by Dolly Parton and local community partners in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, and the Republic of Ireland. So she started this in 1995, and that was inspired by her father's inability to read. So this sparked that. So she started this in her home county, and then today, again, it spans 5 countries and gifts millions of free books each month to children around the world. Now, I find that amazing, just absolutely amazing. And it's such, she didn't have to do that. Just so, when she grew up in the hills of East Tennessee, she had her dreams, and this was her dream, was to become a writer and a singer, to become famous. And look at what she's done. Like, that's incredible. So she launched this. And again, it was to initially benefit the children in her home county in East Tennessee. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And I absolutely love it. Highly, highly recommend, if you're going to donate to any organization, this would be the one. So there's a ton of milestones for this organization, how it's expanded. In 2010, she presented her 25 millionth library book. Like, that's incredible. And it's just, she now does audio, she does Braille. Like, nobody's left out, and that's Fan-fucking-tastic. So as of 2023, it gifted its 200 millionth book since inception. So, and 2025 was its 30-year anniversary. So, I mean, what an incredible program. And it's all about the states. You can sign up. The website's super easy on how to register and get signed up for that. If you know someone who can utilize that, who has a young child, again, up through age 5, how phenomenal. I mean, they don't have to do that at all. And I'm such a fan of children learning how to read. I feel like it's dying with audiobooks and computers and just ChatGPT. Like, things can read to them, but if you don't understand what you're hearing, that's a big fucking deal. Like, there needs to be comprehension, and children need to understand what the words mean, how to say the words. Because, for somebody who's read a word, you don't know how to say it. So there's a lot to go hand in hand with learning to read and speaking and hearing the book. I'm 100% for listening to books. I think that's great, but you should know how to read. Like, you have to read everything. You have to read a monitor. You can't just hit ChatGPT for everything. Like, at one point, you're going to have to know how to read. And when you look at students today that are getting pushed through the schools, getting pushed through districts that have low education, minimal comprehension. There's high school seniors that are not even understanding simple phrases, simple words. They cannot read them. They cannot sound them out. They don't know what they are. And, at the shame on the teachers in the school districts that push those kids through the system and not hold them back as properly needed. There's a lot to be said for sitting down with your child and reading. And I know a lot of people learn differently, and I'm not against that, but you still need to learn how to read. And when you read something simple, Cat in a Hat, all Peter Rabbit, you can read, Goodnight Moon, The Little Engine That Could. There's great books. I mean, it's not hard to find a child's book. I mean, for me, whenever I got dragged out to a baby shower, I would buy books because you need to stock that library. And the best times we ever had was sitting with the kids and reading with them. And it's so important. And that if they're not going to school, I mean, frankly, they need to, by the time they get to kindergarten, they have to know how to read, like, very well, enough to teach them through things. The teachers are not going to teach your kids how to read. That just doesn't even happen anymore. They have to. There's so much kids have to know today. And I'm a huge proponent of reading. I make no money representing Dolly Parton. I think she would be delighted to know that people were funding this. And I will be doing my donation to this later when I get off my podcast. I will be dropping some money over to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library because I think that's something she would love. I think I had seen that today, the website crashed for Dollywood. If anybody's ever been to Dollywood, down in Tennessee, like Pigeon Forge area, fantastic amusement park. Big fan. It is very family friendly. The rides are crazy, like the roller coasters and all that are fucking nuts. But there's a lot of really cool things in Dollywood. The food's amazing. Is it pricey? I don't think it's any worse. It's better priced than Disney, but it's not Disney. You know what I mean? So it's a different experience. She hires a lot of seniors because a lot of seniors have retired to Tennessee. It's a very pension-friendly state. So if you got a senior, well, say anybody over 50, so you figure somebody down there who's looking for, part-time gig or just not to go crazy with their extra money, she hires a lot of that. And I know when I went to visit, I've been there twice now. I took my youngest Girl Scout troop. We did a whole 5-day trip to Tennessee, and Dollywood was one of those days. And we had an absolute blast. An absolute blast. The food was amazing. The service was impeccable. And it was just a very clean, beautiful, friendly park. The kids loved the roller coasters. And we just had a good time. They have an amazing locomotive there. So if you have anybody who's into trains, I highly recommend the train. What is it? It is a genuine, a 110-ton steam locomotive. And it's the Dollywood Express. It is the coolest thing. And it's actually an old train that, let me see, what was that from? When you take that, it's like a 2.5 mile loop. And it's these old steam engines. Oh my gosh, where are they from? They're like built in like 1938, 1940. They were fantastic. I mean, these were, I think one of them was Cinderella. They're all like steam operated, and they're just, it's very cool if you're into trains. And it's loud, and it was just very cool. If you're into that, highly recommend. I'm really waxing on about Dollywood here. I did notice that, I guess, as people heard the news about Dolly, and boy, I think everybody who I've seen, no matter what walk, politically, what your thoughts were on anything, socially, sexually, like where anybody's head is, everybody loved Dolly, right? And I even saw, I think it was on the Babylon Bee, and it just referenced the fact that it says the apocalypse draws near as the last remaining universally beloved human being passes away. And I think that was definitely Dolly Parton. She was just beloved. Everybody liked her. How could you not? How could you not? Like, she was just delightful. So anyway, that's my thoughts on poor Dolly. So rest in peace, lady. You were something else. I'm sure her music sales will go bonkers. All her stuff will be downloaded on Spotify and Apple Music and just anywhere you get your music. She'll be surging through, and I think what I love is that so many of her, has set up several foundations, which was pretty smart, because I think after her husband passed away about a year ago, after like almost 60 years of marriage, she seemed very active in partnering the Dolly Parton name with certain organizations, because I think that will help continue to fund the Imagination Project, the Imagination Library, excuse me. I think that will help fund that. So all these bits and components that she has set up will keep it going. And of course, I'm sure there'll be a huge amount of donations from people over the next few days just to help fund that, the library. So again, highly recommended. It's certainly, how bad is it to help children read, right? Is that an organization you'd be sad about? I don't think so. You know, maybe you don't go out to eat tonight and you drop $30 to the Imagination Library. All right, enough of that. Like, it's actually going to bum me out. I was actually sad to hear it. Because again, who's mad at Dolly Parton? So I was surfing around trying to find some other stories that were not depressing and sad, because to me, the Dolly Parton story is a little bit of a bummer. I saw this and I was like, I have to talk about this. So it's regarding a mom's request with a school lunch. And I think anybody who has children or is just aware of how school lunches are lately will laugh or be pissed about it. I am more laughing at it because I don't have kids to deal with this nonsense anymore. I think moms have gotten crazier, like these lunch moms. So here we go. Here's the headline. Mom's ridiculous school lunch Oreo request triggers massive and hilarious backlash. So what does that mean? So I'm like, I got to look through this article. So this was they're referring to it as a viral mama drama. This revolves around Oreo cookies. There was a mom in a chat group that asked other mothers to refrain from sending the 5-year-olds to school with Oreo cookies because she doesn't allow her daughter to eat them. Oh, so let's say that again. Okay. So here's how it phrased. Hi, everyone. Sorry, slightly awkward, but can we maybe agree on some basic rules around lunchboxes? So this is a mom's group. Okay. And someone replied, of course, is this about allergies? No, it's not allergy related at all. The daughter, Ava, came home upset because her lunch, one of the girls had Oreos in her lunch. I'm like, well, why was she upset? Well, we don't allow that sort of thing at home. So obviously she wanted them when she saw someone else eating them. So the response is, oh, I thought there'd been an allergy issue or something. And this mother says, no, I just wondered if we could all agree to not send things like Oreos, chocolate, candy, etc., so the kids aren't comparing lunches. I'm sorry. What? Okay. So that was the initial post. So that this went viral on Instagram. So this was like some Instagram posts, and I guess they made a video component out of it. So it was like a 10-part series, of course, because it can't just be like a post or anything simple. Now it's got to be all deluxed out. So it's 10-part Instagram series gone viral. So the initial post, again, asking, please don't send in things like Oreos, candy, chocolate. I don't listen to other people about what to pack for my child. A very audacious ask, right? Like, my child, we don't feed that to my child, so your child can't eat it. So please don't send it in. What the fuck is that? And then some of the responses have been, I don't think you can really control what everybody else packs their child. And another response was, with respect, clearly none, I am not changing my daughter's lunch because your daughter wants an Oreo. This is just insane. Insane. How could you even ask? So apparently these bully mom groups are a thing. It's like the very toxic nature of mommy. It's called mommy-led messaging threads. So it's very cliquey. They will kick you out of these groups. They will kick you out of things. And I'm like, it's a pissy mom. Like, it's ridiculous. But when it comes to food the kids eat, the mom feuding cannot be beat. So this Oreo gate, the mothers refused to adhere to Michelle's cookie ban demands, prompting her to ask the school to outlaw Oreos. Now, I'm thinking this is a bit spoofy. It's super fun, though. So when her pleas to the administrators fall on deaf ears, the other mothers, this woman, begins chastising the other mothers for allowing their kids to bring the cookies to school and share them, have the nerve to share them with her daughter, who's not allowed to eat them. So then, according, again, clearly spoofy, but the mother then went to the school and began searching through the other kids' lunch boxes for Oreos, which she considers restricted food. Who restricts Oreos? Come on. Honestly, that's probably a better cookie for your kid to eat. So then they're saying that the child needs to be seated away from the Oreo-loving children at lunchtime. Can you even imagine the gall of that? So it's It's an absolute riot. And right now it says it's an ongoing digital dispute that incited a firestorm of mixed reactions across social media. And one mom writes, well, Michelle, that sounds like a you problem, which it clearly is. Also, I wasn't going to pack Oreos for my kid, but I'll make a special trip to the store now to pick some up. And I guess the audacity to even ask. I said I would have simply said no, not respectfully. And then Oreo Gate was not on my bingo card. So, yeah, it is hysterical. So, you know, the fact that whether this is satire or not, there's plenty of parents that feel the need to police other children's lunchboxes. Now, I have an interesting take on this, as I have a child, an adult child now, but a child who attended school with severe food allergies. We're talking peanuts, any kind of nuts. So peanuts, nuts, almonds, anything that you would consider a nut. Okay. Peanuts are technically legumes, so they're not a nut. They're kind of more in the bean-ish side. So legumes and nuts. Okay. She was allergic to all dairy, egg, and we had fish and shellfish in there as well, which was the least worrisome, especially in school. Your kid's not going to really be eating sushi or tuna fish in school, so I wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, it's hard to send a 5-year-old in with peanut issues, because what do kids eat? Peanut butter and jelly all the time. Peanut butter and jelly, chocolate, cookies, granola bars. If I had said, you can't send a kid in with peanut butter, somebody probably would have burned the school down, because people are so angry about food allergies. And that gets me, because clearly it's not the child's fault. All right. Now, this was the second child, so I'd already been a one-time around through the school district, so I kind of had an idea. I had good conversation. And again, this was at a time where schools were a little more, there wasn't quite a bunch of stuff set in stone. So I was able to, I'll say, manipulate a little bit to work the system to my daughter's advantage. And boy, that does sound shitty when I say it out loud like that. But I didn't really ask for a lot. I never demanded that no one have peanut products. Because that's also not how the world works. She was going to have to learn how to avoid the things she's allergic to. Now, did I want peanut butter smeared on her, or to her to encounter it? Of course not. Of course not. She's anaphylactic to peanuts. So I don't need a phone call from the school that they stabbed my 5-year-old with her EpiPens and now she's in an ambulance on her way to the hospital. Like, that's not how I wanted the day to go. However, I understood the practicality of, you can't demand a classroom of 20 some plus kids not have any peanut products. Nut contamination, and I know, nuts. The contamination, the cross-contamination is insane. They're in granola bars. Every granola bar. There's no safe granola bars. Even if they don't have peanuts in them, they are cross-contaminated with peanut dust, because they're all made on the same lines. And they all say peanut warning. So it's a thing. Okay. Now, are there people that manipulate and take advantage of the food allergy situation? 100%. 100% they do. And that makes people who really do suffer from food allergies, it's problematic. However, I was very lucky to have great teachers early on who worked with me. And I got to be the class mom for like 4 years, which wasn't really the goal. I just wanted to be involved. And the whole point of it is like, let's maybe not send in peanut butter cookies for school parties and stuff like that. And the teachers that we dealt with were, I'll say, experienced teachers. They'd been around a bit. So they dealt with issues. They had dealt with parents, and they were really good about making sure that my youngest was not like completely left out. There was a second grade teacher who did something kind of stupid. I'll get to that. So one of the things would be like, if I knew there was a class party, I would make cupcakes that I knew were safe, that were egg free, that were dairy free. They were very good cupcakes. If I didn't tell anybody, nobody would have known. And I also got smart about freezing cupcakes that just in advance. So, and my daughter didn't necessarily like them with icing all the time. So that was kind of a win. So it's like a little frozen cupcake. I would send it in. I had a great little product. I love this product. It was called Cup-a-Cake. Cup-a-Cake. And it was like, envision a muffin or a cupcake, like on a little wrapper sitting up. And what it was almost like a little piece of Tupperware that kind of wrapped around it. It was hard and it like enclosed it. So you could send a cupcake in and it wouldn't get smashed. I could send in an iced cupcake and it wouldn't get smashed. And that was phenomenal. So that was always, I always had cupcakes. I would be making cupcakes 10 o'clock at night sometimes just for the class for whatever reason, because I didn't want people to look at my daughter and be like, that's the allergy kid. Although she was referred to as the allergy kid all the fucking time, which made me wild. Now, thankfully, the principal had food allergies. He had peanut allergies. He understood. So he was great. School nurse, great. And we only had a couple instances where kids were shitty. And that was addressed immediately and rectified very quickly, which was a wonderful thing. We would resolve situations by, because they didn't eat in the classroom, they ate in the cafeteria. So all the lunches would go down. My daughter the rule was she sat at the end of the table. She had a towel that she would put up like an L shape and she would eat within her little space. So this way, if somebody spilled milk or whatever, it wouldn't run into her food. It wouldn't like immediately dump on her. She could just, because she was at the end of the table, could just get up and run, like escape away. All the lunch aids were great. I don't know if they could have gotten her an EpiPen. Now they have EpiPens kind of stored all over because now it's much easier to get them. But at the time, schools were not getting free EpiPens. So if something happened, I would have to count on the fact that a lunch aide would just kind of grab her and run down the hallway to the nurse's office. I don't know if that would have happened. Thankfully, knock wood, it didn't. I didn't have to worry about it. But whew, it was definitely scary. And I know I was supposed to drift back to a subject, and I don't remember what it was. I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. And it just drifted away from my head. So thankfully, she got through a majority of her school years with minimal allergy exposures. Oh, I know what it was. Her second grade teacher, who was, again, a very highly educated master's degree teacher, and I'd known her before, was well aware that she couldn't eat peanuts, decided for a math lesson one day, she was going to bring in a bushel of peanuts for the kids to count. And when I said to her, and of course, now this is like second or third grade, so my child goes to the nurse calls me, she's crying. Well, the child's crying, not the nurse. Upset, scared, didn't know what to do. So I pick her up. And the teacher actually said to me, I thought she just couldn't eat them. I'm like, she can't inhale it. They're dusty. Have you seen peanuts? I mean, it was a dusty bushel bag of peanuts. It wasn't like they were neatly packaged. They're dusty. You got to crack them open. There's oils. The shells fly. I'm like, are you insane? And I just remember looking at her and she's like, well, I didn't know. I thought she just couldn't eat them. I'm like, wow, you are a highly educated woman. How on earth did you get this far in life? So that's when it occurred to me that not everybody really had good training. So I leaned on that and was able to push a little bit more into education and understanding of food allergies in the school. Then we switched to another district, and then I'm left that behind. And I think the only time she actually had to get an epinephrine shot through school was her senior year. And she'd had an accidental exposure, and the nurse called me up, and she's like, look, I can give it to her. I think the nurse wanted to give it to her. The nurse liked her, knew me well. And finally, I was like, you know what? Give it to her. I'd rather you give it to her. And the worst thing that's going to happen is it's epinephrine. So you get just adrenaline. You just get absolutely hyped up. It hypes up your system to fight the allergen that's in your body. And sometimes when you get one epi shot, sometimes you have to follow it with a second. So they gave her the first shot. At this time, I had already left work. I pull up to the school as the ambulance is loading her into the back of the car. And she's all like, "Hi, Mom." And she's waving at me as I'm following the ambulance to the hospital. Heart rate like a jackrabbit, just like tick, 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 tick. And then she's fine. They evaluate her. Better safe than sorry. I would rather she have gotten it. And I'm actually glad she's actually gotten the shot, because now she knows what it feels like. Right? So she understands what the reaction is, because she's had the reactions, never had to go to an epi. But now she's had the epi and understands what it feels like in her body. So she's now slightly older. She's actually an adult. And she has a lot of people. The fiance watches out for her. Coworkers watch out for her. She's very... I don't think she's as cautious as she should be, but that's the mom part of me. But a lot of people are looking out for her, so they're very aware. I'm still nervous when she's on places like enclosed places like planes, because you can't go anywhere. You can't escape it. And if someone opens up peanuts on a plane, it circulates through the air, which is kind of gross. But that's always my fear. So, yeah, I'm that allergy mom, but I also like to think I was pretty understanding about it, but there were circumstances where I actually just said, we got to go. I'm like, "Excuse us, we have to leave," and we would just leave, because I'm not going to sit around and wait for my kid to have her throat swell up and close. That's just not a fucking thing. Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to deal with it. And my kid's health first. So bye. So there are plenty of opportunity. It was a great opportunity to leave. That and the husband also has food allergies, very similar allergies. So I travel with epis, and boy, if anybody's near me and is ready to have some kind of anaphylactic reaction, I am prepared. I will stab you happily with an epi, just to make sure you're safe. And I can do that. It's perfectly okay, because you will recover quite nicely with the epi. It's just hypes you up, and then you just simmer back down. Boy, I'm all hyped up now. No epis for me. The fun part was when my daughter finally got home after getting her epinephrine shot, she was like chattering, like like she was constant on the go. And then, boy, her system crashed, and she just was knocked out for about 2 hours. Just like it was up and then just crash. So, but again, knock wood, she was great. And it was a positive experience. So I've seen allergic reactions. They're not fun. And I know people love to make fun of them in movies, and, they're like, "Oh, these allergy people." It is a legit thing, folks. I'm going to tell you. And they can say, "Oh, I never saw anybody with food allergies." But you kind of did. My husband had, he was maybe 10 when he was diagnosed. Found out the hard way when he ate a peanut butter sandwich. So that was in the old days when they didn't have EpiPens, and you actually had to get a needle that they had to like put it in the vial, like draw it out, and then give you the shot. So it was pure. It was so much different, and so much. Now the epinephrine pens are so much easier. The convenience of being able to carry them around and not have to worry about breaking a glass vial or carrying a needle. So modern medicine is a wonderful thing. And I get like maybe some things not so great, but man, when they got some stuff right, EpiPens are life-saving. Highly recommend it. And, if you ever have questions about food allergies, feel free to reach out. I have a lot to say about it. Kind of an advocate. I actually was thinking about looking into, there's plenty of organizations that, like professional organizations. I always wanted to get into that to help be an advocate for parents who are unsure. I found a couple really great groups online back in the old days when you had to look up message groups, and then the AOL days, and they were phenomenal. I got the information I'd received from these groups was invaluable, and it was nice to know that you weren't alone and you could find alternative ways to cook. Thank goodness I enjoyed cooking and baking, because it really made things a lot easier. So that's all I got there. So that's my story on food allergies. I feel like I just lectured everybody. I'm so sorry. But I think that's how my mind is flowing today. Worked a bit from home, had some stuff going on. Work is always challenging. We're going to leave it at that. I'm not getting into it. I can't. I do have a glass of wine here. And I think that's how I'm going to wrap up my night. I'm going to sit and relax with a glass of wine. Excuse me. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by and checking out Duchess After Dark. And please, follow me on social. You can find me. I did set up TikTok, but I'm not using it. So I'm not even going to send you over there. If it ever becomes active, I'll share the link again. But it's more like just for creeping around and seeing fun things. And of course, participating in my other show, which is Boomer Bunker with John Domingo. That link should be also in my bio. And again, follow me on X at Duchess NJ. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can find Duchess After Dark. And if you'd like to comment, again, on X or Spotify. But thank you so much for checking in. I always appreciate you guys being here. And I will catch you on the next one. Take care now.